Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about someone we actually haven't talked about in a while, and that is Tess Holliday. Now Tess is apparently a little upset because Vogue has put out a this came out a few weeks ago, so it's not super fresh, but apparently Vogue came out with a new cover, and she is mad about that because in her words, there's not enough diversity, and I think what she's really focusing on is the fact that there's no plus size models on the cover of this Vogue article, or on the cover of this Vogue magazine. And so let's just kind of go over this TikTok where she talks about how she is upset that there's not enough bigger people on this Vogue magazine.
I'm sorry, but what in the fresh hell is this? Fashion gets real. Creativity for everyone. Isn't everyone so creative? I just want to know if the creativity is in the room with us, because the lack of diversity on this, especially because the cover says creativity for everyone, is baffling. They have one model that has a darker skin tone.
So she's upset that there's one model that has a darker skin tone. I would say that there's a few different skin tones on this cover, but that's neither here nor there. It's funny because I don't think she outright says it, but it's very much so implied that there's not enough body diversity on this cover. Really quick, I just wanted to say huge thanks to Legion for sponsoring today's video. If you're not familiar with Legion, they make really high quality supplements that I personally think taste great as well. The supplements that I like to use the most are definitely the protein powder. I use it pretty much every single morning. I'll put it in my oatmeal. It tastes really good. The apple pie is my favorite flavor, as well as the protein bars. They have a new flavor, chocolate peanut butter, which I really enjoy. And then the other supplement that I've been using is the pre-workout. I don't use it every single day, but if you're someone that likes to work out and you would like that extra boost, the pre-workout can be really helpful. What I really like about Legion is that they don't use any proprietary blends in their supplements, so everything that you are curious about, all the ingredients that you want to know in your supplements, you can see it on the label of every single supplement that they make. Another reason that I really like working with Legion is that they are very upfront and honest about what supplements can do for you. I think a lot of times companies will make really over-the-top claims about what their supplements can do, and on the Legion website you can see it for yourself. They say themselves that supplements are not going to be the end-all be-all and it's not going to solve all of your problems, but if you are someone that is taking your health seriously and you're working towards your goals, supplements can be something that helps, but they are not going to be some magic cure, and they are very upfront and honest about that, and that's something that I really appreciate. So if any of this sounds good to you and you would like to try out Legion, if you use my code O2B, you will get 20% off your first order. And so if you're curious about that, click the link in the description, use code O2B, 20% off your first order. Thank you so much to Legion for sponsoring this video. I think one thing that I have noticed a lot recently is that a lot of the people that were really, really big in the body positivity space, it seems that they are almost upset that that space is no longer producing as much as it once was. And a lot of times it was producing a lot of money for these people, right? And we've talked about it a lot on the channel already, is like people that were maybe, not as successful as Tess Holliday. They have decided that they no longer want to be part of the body positivity space, or they have had very negative experiences, and so they have, started losing weight. Either it's, quote unquote naturally, or using a weight loss injection or whatever, right? And they've kind of jumped ship. And I think that people that were maybe a little bit more influential and had a lot more riding on body positivity being popular, that can't really kind of bow out like Tess, are really feeling the implications of what's been going on. And I think that what's been going on is that body positivity has lost popularity, and brands are no longer trying everything that they can to be on the good side of body positivity, because I think, like I always talk about, the pendulum has swung from, it was super skinny in the early 2000s. We talked about that, to, the body positivity craze and how it was a little over the top. And now the pendulum is swinging backwards, right, to where it was before, which I hope it doesn't go back to that extreme, because that was definitely not a healthy place to be. But it's clear that that pendulum is swinging. One brand that really comes to mind for me, this is not me trying to slander anyone, is Gymshark. I remember they were going really hard on the body positivity front. And if you go to their Instagram now, there's not as many quote unquote body positive people that are being featured. So if we just scroll through, right, their Instagram, it's just people that look like they work out and are regular, quote unquote, regular gym people. Now, if you haven't been following this for a long time, you might think, well, of course it is. It's Gymshark. They're a gym brand. But for a good portion of probably I would say 2022, 2021, 2022, there was a lot of quote unquote body diversity. And I'm going to be completely honest, I was someone that benefited from that, because they worked with me and I did some sponsored content with them and they paid me, and it was, very nice of them. But the way I see it is, I saw that as, clearly they are trying to use my loose skin as a way to connect with certain people, whatever. I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate the income. It's very helpful, right? But I saw it as, this is not something that I am going to stake my entire personality and brand on, because it is very easy for them to want to move on eventually when this is no longer the popular thing, which it's no longer the popular thing. It's easy. I know that I'm bringing up Gymshark, but this is common and happening all over these brands, especially these brands that are very, very popular on social media. Now that we have the longest tangent in the world out of the way, let's continue watching this video.
All the same body type. When is it getting real? Because this is real crappy. This is real crappy. This is real silly. It's real silly. This is
It's just interesting because she's so upset. But at the same time, this is just one cover, right? And so, is the expectation that every single cover of every single magazine that's going to feature a plethora of people on it, right? Like this one does, that they have to include someone that's this size, and then also someone that's this size, and then hopefully someone that's this size. I think that that's just a little ridiculous. And if you look at the comment section of this TikTok, a lot of the comments are kind of reflecting that, right? The world is healing, right? There are people that are, on kind of Tess's side, right? This one says, also the white top with denim, so creative, right? And then this is exactly what we want to see. Actually, I love it. 90s vibes, right? So there are a lot of people that are disagreeing with how Tess feels in this moment, right?
Absolutely just not okay. This is not what we collectively want to see in fashion. There's so many models.
So she says this is not what we collectively want to see in fashion. And it's interesting. Obviously I'm not going to sit here and say, I know what the fashion industry wants, because your boy doesn't know that. Okay. I wear the same few things every day. Right. But to sit there and say I am the person that knows what everyone wants, whenever anyone does that, boop, red flag going off super hard in my brain, right? Because no one can sit here and say that I have the answer and I know what everyone wants in this space. You know what you want, and that's fine, right? You can say that I'm upset because this makes me upset, but then once you start to say this is not what anyone wants, come on, brother, let's be real. You can't speak for everyone.
So diverse that could make this cover and where are they? They're not working, I'll tell you that, because I'm sitting in a Red Robin parking lot right now.
And there you go. I think that's really where a lot of this upsetness and frustration stems from, is the fact that Tess Holliday is not getting as many jobs, is not having as many people reach out to her, is not having the amount of opportunities that she was in the past, and that's starting to weigh on her, right? That's starting to become a problem, which is understandable.
Meeting with a friend, not on set. Like so many of my friends and colleagues. I don't understand. I don't know if this is because this is what Zach Posen sees for the future of fashion, and maybe this is what he saw for his vision for Gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably what it is. It's what he thought, what he enjoyed. Like, I don't understand why just because someone else, puts this cover up and makes it this way, that is now an attack. And oh my God, I can't believe all of Vogue thinks this. You just said it yourself. It's clearly, maybe it's just what Zach thinks. And if you disagree with him, that's fine. But it's just so strange to go from, oh, I don't really like that, to be like, oh my God, I need to make a TikTok about this. This is terrible. Everything is falling apart. Like, come on, brother.
Haven't traditionally seen a ton of, diversity and inclusivity from Gap, but we have seen varying amounts throughout campaigns, especially the last few years. We are kicking off 2025 with this to look up to. Give us something to be excited about.
So clearly, Tess Holliday is upset about that. But I think it's interesting because with Tess Holliday, I think a lot of where her authority comes from and how she feels that she is able to talk with, some sense of authority on this subject is the fact that she's a model. She's a supermodel. She was the first, I think, supermodel signed, plus size supermodel signed. And I think that's interesting because me and Rachel were able to find this BuzzFeed article from like 10 years ago now. But I think that's perfect because it goes over Tess and how she started and the way that she was able to garner popularity. So again, this article is from 10 years ago. I know that. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. But this is the article right here. So it's from BuzzFeed. And it goes on to say, we're not going to read the whole thing. It's quite long, but it goes on. It says, Tess Holliday is the biggest thing to happen to modeling at size 22. Tess Holliday is the largest model ever signed by a major agency. Can she spin her social media stardom into a career in the high stakes and notoriously body conscious modeling world? Then this was when everything was kind of starting, right? Body positivity, 2015, 2016 was when it kind of started, right? So it goes on to say her real name is Ryan Hoven, but I won't know this until much later. When we're a couple drinks in at a tiki bar, older than time, when we meet Tess Holliday, plus size model and social media phenomenon. She's sitting with her fiance and her stylist in her stylist's Burbank, California apartment with clips in her auburn hair. We have an issue, she says, as soon as I walk in, right? And so again, we're not going to read the whole thing, but what I think is interesting is right here, right? So it says, Holliday has complicated feelings about her online popularity. I want to get jobs because of my ability and not rely on social media for validity. She says, understandable. If also a bit idealistic, making it used to be about people now it's about how many people know you, right? So Tess was discovered because of social media. So if we go a little bit sooner in the article, Holliday was discovered on social media, a fairly recent trend in the modeling world. What started with a MySpace account is now a platform with 650,000 followers on Instagram and 820,000 people have liked her Facebook page. And it's no secret that this online following is responsible for her success, right? I'd never scouted someone like that before, says Anna Schillinglaw, founder and managing director at Milk Model Management, who stumbled on a photo of Holliday one night while scrolling through her Instagram. She thought Holliday was a cool size with an incredible face, and Schillinglaw adds she had more social media stats than all the top plus size models put together, right? And so clearly, the fact that she was popular on social media was a big reason that she was able to turn that into a modeling career. 2025, right? So it's been 10 years since that article came out. And honestly, I think for a modeling career, 10 years is not terrible. I think a lot of people end up having a little bit less. I'm sure people have more, but it feels like it's almost like kind of never enough. And I feel like Tess Holliday has definitely been incredibly fortunate for what she has been able to achieve through her career and the things that she has been able to do and the opportunities that she has had. But it feels like she's almost kind of grasping at straws because the time has kind of passed, right? Body positivity and the way that it was getting pushed and pushed and pushed. I think people got sick of it. And honestly, I understand why, because it was getting pushed so much to where it just felt unnatural and unnecessary. A lot of people, like with the whole Gymshark thing that we were talking about, it just felt it just felt kind of silly, right? Like, I think that there is a way that you can incorporate others in a way that feels natural, that doesn't feel so forced and so obvious, right? And I feel like that amount of forcing and trying to make it happen has really turned a lot of people off. So I'm not saying that this isn't something that is possible in the future, but I think right now, where we are with how things have gone in the past few years, people are over it, right? If you look at the comments on that original TikTok, the vast majority of people are over it, right? Because it was too much trying to push it, force it. I think that there are ways that it can happen a little bit more naturally, right? But again, that's just how I feel. So I'm genuinely curious what y'all think, especially with body positivity and how it's definitely lost favor and how many people are kind of leaving the body positivity movement. I'm just curious what other people think down in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. A thumbs up, subscribe if you made it to the end of the video. That always helps out. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.